Okay guys, this is a zip tie tutorial for posting ears. Lay down. Down. Good girl. This is Simza. I'm actually going to show you how I take these off and maybe do some troubleshooting. So to take these off, all I do is I just stick the scissors in between the tape and her ear, pull up on the tape so you're not cutting the ear, and cut all the way up the ear. Nope, lay down. Lay down. Stop. And then you'll just peel this tape off. And I like to loosen both before I actually take the zip tie out itself. So I'm just doing the same thing on the other ear. Okay. Again, peel the tape. Now if your posts are glued in, I like to use Unisolve, and I'll go over these products a little bit later again. And I just take it along the post and I just put it on the post itself. It penetrates the glue fairly quickly. Just pop this out of the ear and then just peel up, and it should just come right off. You can let the Unisolve sit a little longer if you feel like you need to. The glue I use isn't super crazy, so it seems to work pretty well. And then I'll clean the ears right away, because then I'll put her down afterwards so that her ears can dry. So I just take a cotton pad, like so, and I use rubbing alcohol. Gonna put some on the pad. I'll show you how I do this. I'll do this one first though. I take a clean pad, I use a different pad for each ear. When you're cleaning these, don't be shy to get into the ear. Just take your finger, stick it down in the base. You're not going to hit the ear canal. Just make sure you're getting rid of all the gunk in there. Get around the little parts of the ear, and then wipe the back of the ear also. And then your puppy can go play while you make the new posts. They'll usually shake their head quite a bit, so don't be surprised. Okay. Move this forward a little bit so I can show you guys what I'm doing. And I'll show you how to measure the zip ties on the ears, but since I already have some cut, I'm just going to use those to make the new ones. So, I use rubbing alcohol to clean the ears off. Hush to clean the ears out. This is Unisolve. It's an adhesive remover. I use it to loosen up the glue that you use on the ear. Simza. The glue I use is Ostobond, skin bonding latex. Sorry about that. I use plain white Zona's tape. You don't want to use vet wrap. You don't want to use any colored tape. You don't want to use athletic tape. You don't want to use any other tape, period. Just use Zona's tape. It's white, it's breathable, it's not going to cause problems with the ear. And I have yet to have a dog have a reaction to this tape. Then I have cotton squares. I use the squares for the way I fold it, not a cotton ball. I have a little container with Gold Bond body powder in it, which I don't have the powder out here, but I can always link all this stuff. I just put the Gold Bond in here since I'm going to dip the bottom of the post in it. It just makes it easier on me to dip it. Then I have a Dremel for rounding out the edges. This is the Dremel Light. I also have the Dremel Micro. I like them both. I also have a corded Dremel. It just depends on what you like. pair of scissors, and a zip tie. Now this zip tie is about 1/2 inch wide. It's a thick one. They're heavy duty. We buy them at Menards or Builders, Home Depot, wherever you want to buy them. You just want to make sure you're buying your thick zip ties. And I will move up to an even thicker zip tie once the puppies are 6 to 7 months old, just because I prefer to have them, because then they're even a little wider, and that's what I prefer. Those ones are about 3/4 inch wide. This one's about just under 1/2 inch wide. I also have a measuring tape so I can actually tell you how long of strands of Zona's tape I break off. So I'm just going to use my old zip ties as a measuring tool. Now I do not cut new zip ties every single time. These are getting pretty bent, so that's why I'm cutting new ones now. But I will use them 3 to 4 times. They're also about to get too short, so I know just to cut the next ones just a tad longer than the old ones were. Your dog's ears should be the same length. However, it's always a good idea to double check and measure both ears with the zip tie. And again, I'll show you how to measure the zip tie to the ear in a little bit when I have Simza back over here. But you just want to cut your 2 zip ties. So you have your zip ties and your Zona's tape to start off with. This is pretty simple. So I like to bend the zip tie to make sure we have a nice straight zip tie. If it does curve a little bit, it's not the end of the world. Don't stress too much, but you do want to try and get them fairly straight. Then I'm going to grab my Zona's tape here. And you are going to measure the Zona's tape to the zip tie. And you're just going to make it about a 1/2 inch longer on either side of the zip tie. And you're going to stick that to the table. Sticky side down, you're sticking it to the table. And you're going to break off another piece, approximately the same length. This is not an exact science. If one's a little bit longer, a little bit shorter than the other one, don't stress, it's not a big deal. Then I'm going to take my zip tie, and I'm going to Dremel the corners. So the corners are pretty sharp right now. Just going to go ahead and Dremel those, make them not as sharp. Going to do that with both of them. This is just the sandpaper attachment on the Dremel here. And I usually turn it up to level 2 or 3. Okay. You have nice rounded edges. Now you're going to go ahead and lay the zip ties down. Try and lay them down in the middle. Like so. Then you're going to take your Zona's tape and you are going to break off a piece an inch longer. Alexa, be quiet. Break off your Zona's tape an inch longer than your last piece of Zona's tape. So you're just going to measure it to it, and just around an inch longer, you'll break that off. You're going to line up the one end of the Zona's tape together, and I just hold it down and pull it tight and lay it down even. Get to the other side. I have fingernails that I can use for this. If you don't, you can use your scissors, but you're just going to squeeze the Zona's tape around the zip tie and form it so that it's nice and formed around there. You don't want it loose. If you don't have fingernails to use, you can always use your scissors. Just kind of try and tighten it up on there, but whatever works easiest for you. Then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, it's not an exact science. There's really, if it's not exactly an inch longer, it's not the end of the world. So hold it down on this end, lay it down tight, and again, you're just going to form it right around that zip tie. If the zip tie is not perfectly centered, not the end of the world. Don't freak out. Okay. Now I'm gonna take an approximately 3-inch piece of tape. I'm gonna rip it down the middle, so it's like this, split in two. And I just tape everything to my table that I'm gonna use. Then you will peel up your zip tie post, like so. Then we're gonna grab our cotton squares. Now, Simza is 12 weeks old tomorrow, so I am cutting off one. See how there's like measurements here, essentially? I'm gonna cut off one of these blocks for her. When she was 8 weeks old and I started posting, I cut off 2 blocks because otherwise there's just too much padding in the ear. Once she gets to be about 16 weeks old, I'll start using the whole square. And from there on out, I'll use the whole thing. You're just gonna cut off the one strip, like so. So you have those. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your zip tie and approximately 1 inch down the zip tie itself, not the Zona's tape, but down the zip ties itself, you're gonna cut the tape all the way up against the zip tie. And then you're gonna take it and you're gonna do sticky side out, fold it over. So you want this to be the sticky side. And then I take the bottom and I fold it up so it looks like this. You're gonna do the same thing with the other side. Fold it so there's sticky side out. And then fold this over like so. Okay. Halfway done with making your posts. Now you're gonna take your cotton square and just a little bit lower than where you cut it, you are just gonna wrap it around. Like so. It's gonna make kind of a tube. And then you're gonna fold the bottom up to match the other side. And there should be, so my zip tie ends here, there should be padding below the zip tie. So the zip tie doesn't go all the way down to the end, but the zip tie ends approximately right here. So there's a little bit of extra padding. You're gonna take one of your halves and you are just gonna wrap it right around, lining it up with where the cut is, so that you are sticking the Zona's tape to the cotton square as well as the tape, and you're just gonna kind of squeeze it down. So that's what it looks like. Gonna do the same thing with the other side. Just a little bit lower than where you cut it. You're gonna wrap it all the way around and then fold it up to match. Well, like so. And you're gonna take your Zona's tape, your other half, and wrap it around nice and tightly. Make sure it's secure. Squeeze it down, okay? Just like so. Then, what I like to do next is dip this in the Gold Bond powder. So I just stick the cotton pad in there. The reason I do this is help keeps the ear dry and clear of moisture, which is important. If your posts get wet, you should change them as soon as you can. You just tap it off. The same thing with the other one. Swirl it around. Tap it off. Gold Bond powder's messy. Don't be surprised if you get it all over. So, and then because I want to try and make posting as quick as possible, I get everything ready before I get the dog. So now you're gonna want 2 long pieces of tape. My long pieces are approximately 7 inches. So you want 2 long. You're gonna put 4 pieces of tape on each ear, except for the length of ear I have, you're gonna do 4. If you have really long ears, you might need to do 5 pieces, so then you would just have to do 2 short pieces for each ear instead of just 1 for each ear. If you have really short ears, you might just have to do 3 pieces. I always recommend taping the whole ear, because if you don't, the tape is able to move and it can rub and cause sores and cause all sorts of problems. I've just seen a lot less problems with just taping the whole ear versus doing the 2 pieces of tape. So then you're gonna do 4 medium-sized pieces, which are approximately 5.5 inches, somewhere between 5 and 6 inches. So you're gonna do 4 of those. And they don't have to be perfect. And then you're gonna do 2 short pieces, which are approximately 3.5-ish inches. Okay, so then that part's done. So then I like to put my glue on. So the Ostabond glue. On the sticky side of the post, you're just gonna lather it in Ostabond. This is especially important for young puppies, since they tend to shake more and so on. If you put your post in right, it shouldn't come out, but why not just play it safe? So then, I'm gonna do the same thing for the other post. Just kind of lather it on there. And you're just gonna do it where the zip tie is. So from the zip tie to the zip tie. Okay, so that is the process of making the post itself. Now I'm gonna get out a cotton square so I can show you guys how to make a bumper in case you have pockets. So this is gonna be a little bit of a longer video, and I'll also show you how to take care of a sore on the ear so you can keep posting. If you have a sore in the base of the ear, check out the half post method, as that might be a little bit easier. Okay. If you have a sore in the ear, you're going to want to use some sort of triple antibiotic. Let me get the dog. Since I'm usually posting by myself, I teach all of my puppies to lay down on the table. I put them on one hip, stay, and they all know to just lay here while I post. So, a pocket is when the ear starts leaning over the head like this. Now I'm showing a severe form of it, but any kind of leaning over the head means your dog has a pocket. If it does, you're gonna wanna put a bumper, which just means some kind of padding, on the inside of the ear, between the ear and the post, to push that pocket back out. Oh, let me adjust that. I'll show that again. So a pocket is when the ear leans over the head and it starts to bump the wrong way out like this. So you put a bumper here where the pocket is, between the pocket, the ear, and the post, to push it back this way so it straightens back out. She does not have pockets, so we don't have to do that, but I wanted to show you how to do that. If your dog has a sore on the ear, what you're going to do is take your triple antibiotic and you're going to put it on that sore, and then you're just going to cut a piece of cotton pad or gauze, I prefer gauze, big enough to put over that area. So wherever you put the triple antibiotic, you're just going to place this over it. Usually this will stick to the triple antibiotic, and then you're going to post as normal. So you just cover it. Good girl. Alrighty, so we are ready to post. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take, I like to put my 2 fingers like this, and then you're gonna take it and you're just gonna push it into the base of the ear here. Then once it's in, what I like to do is I like to take my thumb and put it right above where that cotton pad is and push it down further into the ear so you know it's all the way in. And then you're gonna stretch the ear up nice and tall all the way against the post. And then fold this over. And Mine always go a little ways down the back. That's just how I prefer it. Seems to make it a little easier. So now you have your post in your dog's ear. When you're first doing this, you want to make sure to tape this ear right away instead of letting it sit. She's really good about it, so I'm going to do this one. You're just going to push that cotton pad into the ear. Take your thumb above the cotton pad and push it down into the ear all the way. Stretch the ear up nice and tall against the post, and then fold it over the back. As you can see, the folds on the back aren't the exact same length. Not a big deal. So that's the start. Your ears are up straight. Now what you're going to do is take your 7-inch piece of tape. You're going to pull up on the ear. You're going to tape the, oops, hold on. My bad. You're going to pull up on the ear, like so. See if I can do this with my left hand. And you're going to tape the tape as low as you can to the post itself. And then you're going to wrap it going inward around the ear. So there is a little fold right here on the ear that you can see. And you want to make sure you're folding that into the ear. So you'll tape this here and fold that fold over this way. And tape this all the way around the ear. You don't want to pull it tight. You want to pull it taut, but not tight. And then squeeze it so that it sticks. Then you're going to take a middle piece length of tape. And you're going to overlap it just slightly, again taping it to the post, and then go all the way around and then squeeze. Then you're going to get another middle piece of tape and do the same thing. Just slightly overlap it, stick it to the post, wrap it all the way around, and squeeze. And then you're going to take one of your short pieces of tape and you're going to do the same thing at the very top. So now the whole ear is taped. Like I said, this is what I prefer. I see less problems with it. I see less sores. I see less issues. So that ear is up. Now we're going to do the other ear. Same thing. Going to grab your longest piece of tape, pull up on the ear, tape the tape to the post, and again, you're going to go in towards the head, so you're folding this flap right here back. I also find that you have a much more even fold on your flap when you're taping the whole ear. You're going to take a middle piece, slightly overlap it, stick it to the post, and go all the way around. Going to take another middle piece and do the same thing. That piece was a little long, but that's okay. And squeeze. And then you're going to take your short piece at the very top, go around, and squeeze. So your ears are posted. Now, at 12 weeks old, I no longer bridge her ears because she's perfectly capable of using the muscles and keeping them up herself. However, if you have a puppy that you're just starting to post, you're going to want to bridge the ears. So, I'll show you how to bridge. You're going to take a longer piece of tape. Not crazy long. I tend to get carried away. This piece is probably about 10 inches long. Let me check. Okay, probably more like 10 and a half. So then you're going to take your tape and you're going to split it down the middle on the one side, like so. And you are going to take your puppy's ears, and again, you're going to pull up on them and tape half of it down at the bottom, like so. You're just going to go right around like that. Then you're going to take the other side of your tape, and you're going to tear it down the middle. And you might have to tear it further, because this is about where you want your ears. And you're going to tape it around like you did the other one. And if you have to cut some of it off, it's not a big deal. I'm taking this back off. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your tape itself and you're just going to fold it in half, sticky sides together, so that it can't stick to anything. And that's your bridge. You just want the ears to slightly lean out. You don't want to pull them all the way up like this because that's going to cause pockets. So just a slight lean out is good enough. And that's how you do the zip tie posting method. Ears up, ready to go. Thanks, guys.